All right, y'all. This is the podcast here, the Coins Cashflow Conversations podcast. So I am your host, Dakota Grady, and this is my first time doing a live through Zoom on YouTube. So hey, it might be an operator error, but it's a learning experience. I'm going with it anyway. So today I have a guest. This podcast is also sponsored by Upstate Essential Solutions. If you need help with accounting and taxes for your business, if you're a nurse practitioner, entrepreneur, med spa owner, or esthetician, and you need bookkeeping there for your taxes because you can't do taxes without bookkeeping, contact me today at dakotagrady.com. And if you need help with your personal finances, I'm your guy too. If you need resources such as the book, get your copy of the book called Broke. That's right, y'all. Online at my website at dakotagrady.com. So without further ado, I have a guest, Miss Gwen Jimmere. I hope I'm saying her last name right. So I hope I didn't butcher her last name, but Jimmere. And I want to talk to her about her business, Naturalicious. I met her through a program that I'm a part of, and I want to just have her on the show to share her story, talk about entrepreneurship. So Gwen, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. And yes, you said my last name correctly, so shout out to you.
So Gwen, thank you for your time. Tell everybody about who you are and what you do.
I do a lot of stuff. So my name is Gwen Jimmere. I am primarily known for being the founder and CEO of Naturalicious. We are an award-winning hair care company found in over 2,500 retail stores, including Sally Beauty, Whole Foods, Ulta, and a lot of different mom and pop individually owned stores. I've been running that business for 11 years now. Actually, it'll be 11 years next month. So I'm kind of putting the cart before the horse a little bit, but 11 years. And I just learned so much about business, and I love talking about business. I've talked about business since I started, and obviously within a decade of running a business that has grown from $0 when I started it, essentially $32 I had in the bank, to I've grown it to have amassed over $20 million in the time that I've owned the business. I've obviously learned a lot, and I love to share what I've learned. I love to see people's light bulbs go off. There's mistakes that I made that I could have completely circumvented had I had the knowledge that I have now. And I love sharing that to help people create a business that gives them the money and the freedom to live the life that they really want. Because a lot of times we start businesses and we just create another job for ourselves. And that's not what we're signing up for. And so I just love doing that. So more recently, I've been starting my own YouTube channel and sharing my own content. And so that's kind of like the second thing that I do. And then the third thing that I do is I have a membership-based business. It's a women's empowerment group, and there's a monthly fee that they pay to have access to all sorts of things, including life coaching. They get an annual retreat to somewhere exotic around the world. So we've gone to Kenya, we've gone to Zanzibar, we've gone to Morocco, St. Martin, Mexico. We've gone to a lot of different places. And they just get weekly programming, and that's the third thing that I do. So I don't have space in my day for nothing else right now.
You're a busy mom, sounds like. So why did you start your business, and why natural hair?
Well, for me, I love innovation. Like, I do not like to be one of many. I love doing things that are different, finding different ways to solve different problems. At the end of the day, everything that I do is to solve problems, right? So from the hair company to the women's empowerment group, to even me sharing my own content now, is to solve a problem somebody has. And so when I started my hair care company, this was in the days where you couldn't just go to any store and find a hair product. Like, that's commonplace now. But for Black hair, it was like few and far between. You literally had to go to like the owner of Carol's daughter's house and like knock on her door and hope she'll sell you something, And so that was only like 13 years ago when that was happening, which sounds like it was so far away, but it wasn't. And at the time, I had started to go natural because I was pregnant with my son. And I was just finding that I was taking forever to do my hair, and I was no longer interested in putting chemical relaxers on my hair. And so it was like, why doesn't there exist a product or a product line that cuts the time down? Because, Black women, we're known for spending 3, 4, 5, all day long, 3, 4, 5 hours on our hair. And I was like, I don't got that kind of time. Like, I need my hair to look good in a fraction of that time. And so that's what I set out to create. And it was never designed to be a business. It was always supposed to be just something I made for myself while I was pregnant. I honestly didn't even expect to stay natural after I was pregnant. I thought I was just going to do it for the 9 months I was pregnant. But I ended up loving my hair for the first time in my life. I ended up being able to go from spending 4 hours on my hair to only 30 minutes and have better results in the 30 minutes. And that's how the company got started. So it was never really designed to be a business. I'm probably the least likely hair care entrepreneur because I hated my hair my whole life. And here I am now, like teaching people how to love their hair and how to grow it and how to, make it look like how they want to. So when they look in the mirror, they can see something that they love every day.
Wow. So you started from basically you saw you filled that gap, right?
Yep.
Talk about that in terms of for Black women. I mean, like Black women are one of the fastest growing entrepreneurs in America. Do you feel like you fit into that, like that mold? Well, I'm saying that you're in that where you started a business because you had a need, or you just feel like I want to be different. I want to start my startup business having a different view. Been in business almost 11 years now. Has the view changed in terms of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I mean, when I started it, well, first of all, I always knew that I was going to be a business owner. I just didn't know how. Originally, I had planned to open a nightclub, and it was going to be an all-female staff. I had found the building. I don't know where I was going to get this money from. It was $1 million building. I certainly didn't have $1 million or anywhere near $1 million. I didn't even have $100,000. I didn't even have $10,000. So I don't know where I was going to get $1 million from. But it was $1 million building. I was going to have an all-female staff. It was going to be a female manager, female wait staff, female DJ. It was going to be everything. It was going to be amazing. And I had this whole vision. I went to the building. I'm talking to the guy that owns the building. And he's probably like, where? I was like 22. He's like, where's this girl getting this money from? And so, but that was always my vision, was to be an entrepreneur in some sort of way. Because for me, working for other people is so stifling. I am at my core, I'm a creative. And it's so like I would literally go to work feeling like the life was being sucked out of me, even though I actually liked my job and my career. I mean, I went to college, I got my master's degree, I did all the things you're supposed to do, and I would feel so like, oh, like it was like, how you gonna tell me I'm only allowed to be sick 6 days out of the year, or you're not gonna pay me after that? Like, who are you? To tell me that I can only take 2 weeks of vacation. What if I want to take 4 weeks? And so for me, the freedom that comes with being able to run your own business was something that I always knew that I was going to do, just didn't know how it was going to manifest. When the hair care thing came around, again, it was just something I was doing for me. But I started to notice that like all my friends and my family were like, girl, what are you using on your hair? It's looking so good. And I was like, oh, I make this little stuff over here in my kitchen, and I would give it away. And then next thing I knew, their friends and their coworkers started asking them what they were using. And they're like, oh, my sister, my cousin, my friend, she makes this stuff. And now I'm getting phone calls from people I don't know asking, can they buy this stuff that I make? And I'm like, okay, I think I have a little bit of a company here, and so it kind of organically grew like that. But I think at the core of it, I always knew that entrepreneurship was going to be my path. I just didn't know when or how. And then it ended up manifesting in a completely different way. And that hair care company actually parlayed itself into the women's empowerment group. So the majority of customers that are in that group are customers of the hair care company, but they are two totally different things. They have nothing to do with each other. We don't even talk about hair in the women's empowerment group. We talk about personal development. We talk about travel. We have cooking classes, all sorts of things. Like it's really like an empowerment / community group. And so, but that group got born out of the hair care company. And so now that I'm sharing my own content and talking about business, obviously I'm able to talk about it because I've owned 2 successful businesses. I've also owned a business that actually failed. So I owned a business that was open for less than a year. I spent a whole lot of money because I had the money to fund it at that time, and it didn't work. But for me, Dakota, what is really interesting about that business that failed is that the first 2 businesses were born out of a need that I saw in the marketplace. And I had decided that, okay, I was going to fulfill that need, right? When I started the third business, it was just like, it only made sense. It was more of a money play. It was like, hey, this makes sense it was a big, like, state-of-the-art salon, right? It was a salon, a spa, it was like 4,500 square feet. It had all the bells and whistles, right? That was born out of a desire to just build wealth, right? It wasn't like there's a need for salons. There was a need for a salon like mine, but not like there was a need for women who are looking to dramatically change their hair, dramatically look at themselves in the mirror and see something totally different, or women who were filling a void that they didn't have like friends that they could connect with, which is where the women's empowerment group came up. And so when I think about the back in hindsight is 2020, it's like when I am working on things that are actually helping people, that are actually transforming lives, that's when I'm successful. When I'm doing something that's just for fun, basically, or like just because it makes sense, maybe even just because it would add, you know, more zeros to my bank account or something, it didn't work, you know? And so for me, I know that if I'm going to indulge in an entrepreneurial endeavor, it's got to be something that's going to be transformative for the end consumer.
So in our group, you mentioned, I think you quit your business or shut it down at one point, right?
Mm-hmm. I did.
Talk about that, because entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Talk about why you quit the business and then you, I guess, went back to it. Talk about that, please.
Yeah. Well, I quit because I had been doing it for almost 10 years at that point. It was like 9 months and like, it was like 9 months and like, I'm sorry, 9 years and 10 months. And I was just like, I'm tired. I'm not feeling passionate about this. I like what I do. I love my customers. We have a very close relationship with each other. Like some of them, like I know some of their incidents. I know when some people get married before the family know when they get married, because they'll come into our group and they'll say it, you know. But I just wasn't feeling passionate about the industry anymore. I was starting to see it change. It was really frustrating me that I've been preaching about hair education for 10 years and people are still having the same issues because competitors were coming in that did not care about the consumer, selling them snake oil, and they would then get jaded. I'm sure you've heard, you know, women say, nothing works for my hair, right? And it's like, there's millions of products. Something's got to be working, right? But it was because people are always trying to take the shortcut to having the hair that they want instead of the tried and true things that always work, right? And so in my group, that's what I would be teaching. But then I just get really frustrated because I would see people come in there like, you know, I tried this method and it was some nonsense where like people were taking like, they were putting like Vagisil cream in their hair, like trying to make their hair grow. And it's like, what are you doing? You know, it's like, no, stop trying to take the shortcut. That ain't gonna work. You know, and because I care so much about Black women in general, and about how we see ourselves, because our beauty is generally frowned upon. You know, everybody wants to be like us, but nobody wants to be us, right? Like they want our beauty, but they don't want to acknowledge our beauty, that we created it, right? They want the hair that can hold a curl. They want the fuller lips. They want all those things, but they don't want the challenges that come with that. And so I care a lot. And so it just really frustrated me that I was seeing that. And then next thing I know, it was like all these like relaxer brands who never gave a crap about us, who were giving us cancer, who were doing all these things, these bad things to Black women for decades. Now your sales are down. And now all of a sudden now you want to get on a natural hair wave, you know? And it was just really irritating to me to see our sisters be like, okay, I'm not going to support these black owned businesses, which have a higher price point because their products are of higher quality. We're going to go support Motions, or we're going to support L'Oreal, who has a $6.99 hair product. You get what you pay for. That's why you feel like your hair is not growing. That's why you feel like nothing is working for you, because that crap is not made for you. It's made to make money. It's not made with you in mind. Whereas these Black owned brands, mine included, and a bunch of other ones, we are the consumer. We know what we need. You know, we are putting special types of exotic oils into our products because that's what our hair requires. These people over here, they put all sorts of chemicals in your stuff. They don't give a crap about you, you know? And so I just got really jaded with it. And I was just like, you know what, I'm over it. And so I quit. And when I quit, I had a lot of customers who were coming to us and were like, well, you know, can we at least buy it in the store still? Like, you know, okay, fine, you don't want to sell online. That's disappointing, but can we at least, what am I supposed to do now? And I started to realize how important the work that I had done all that time was, because my business was never just a hair product company. It was a hair education company that happened to sell products, right? And so I was teaching along the way. And so for some of them, all they had used for 10 years was Naturalicious. And they're like, okay, so now I got to go find another product. Like, I don't know what to do. So we were still selling in stores like Ulta and Sally Beauty, but you just couldn't buy from us directly. And at the time I was working more on getting the hair salon up and going. And the salon was fine. Actually, we had, 4.8 out of 5 stars on Google from like 300 customers, like great reviews, but the math just wasn't mathing, right? It just like, we were making what people consider a lot of money, I guess, for a first year business. Like we did over 6 figures our first year, or our first 7 months. But in order for like the mortgage on the building, because I bought the building, the staff, it was a huge staff. We had like 17 employees within, a couple of months. It wasn't making financial sense anymore. And I was spending all my energy on that. And then when I realized, okay, this is not going to work out. Let me go back to my crew, my customers, the people who have been riding with me for 10 years. Let's close this thing. Let's shut this down. Let's not be emotionally attached to a business, right? Let's go and restart what has held me down all these years. And so I went back and restarted the business in August of that year after I closed it. And it was like we never quit. So they were with us from open arms, like, we've been waiting for you to come back, so that was great. And that is the power of building a community that is emotionally connected as opposed to just a transactional business.
Man, that's it. I gotta bring you back because you touched about something about other companies. They put stuff that's not healthy for our people and their products.
Sure.
I got a pet peeve about the hair industry. Even though I'm a dude, I got a pet peeve. I want to talk about the next. If I can bring you back, hopefully I can bring you back for another segment. But real quick, can you give us something that the audience can chew on, that they can apply? Because we're talking about entrepreneurship. Maybe talking to maybe a woman's on here listening, or a guy, and they'll feel overwhelmed, distraught, like you felt. Encourage the person. Give them some hope that they can go back, they can pivot again, still make that bread, but also have fulfillment as well.
Yeah. So I would just use my own experience as an example. I would say, for me and for most people, like, if your heart's not in it, like, you're just not going to do it well. For me, if my name's on it, it's got to be done with excellence. We're not half behind in nothing, right? If it's going to have Gwen's name on top of it, you're going to know before you even buy it or see it that it's going to be quality, right? And so your customers, potential customers, should know that about you as well. I heard Myron Golden, who I love, say this once. He was saying, you want to be the person who has secured the sale before it's even available, right? So think about this. For example, like Denzel. If Denzel's in a movie, a lot of people will just go see the movie. They don't even know what the movie's about. There's no Denzel's in it. It must be good, right? Or if you're a Beyonce or Usher. Usher's a great example right now, right? In the era he's in right now. Right now, if Usher's name is on it, people are in droves, right? They're like, I'm going to Vegas to see Usher. I'm going to Super Bowl just to see Usher. I'm doing it because everybody, before the sale even happens, people know that Usher's album is coming out the day of the Super Bowl. And people are like, I got my dollars ready. They ain't heard Nan song, right? They don't know what it's gonna be. It could be a complete trash album for all they know, but he secured the sale before the sale has even been available. So you want to be that person, right? Same thing with Oprah. If Oprah says a book is great, it's gonna sell out. Same thing, right? You want to be that person. And so again, that's because they have built a brand around quality, right? And so for me, I have to, in order to operate at that level, I have to be passionate about it. I can't just do something I'm kind of like, this would be nice. I know some people can. I'm not that way. I think most people are like me, right? There's very few of us who can operate at a really high level when your heart's not in it. And so the thing I would tell people, if you are feeling like the frustration, go and find the part of the business that gave you the most joy, that brought you the most fulfillment. For me, it's when I can see that I'm helping people, when I can see those light bulbs go off and they're like, oh, I never thought to do it that way. Like, oh, I could save money by doing this. Oh, I could save time by doing that. Like, that's what gets me excited. To have people in my inbox saying, I've been using this product for 3 months and my edges were like all messed up and now I can see them growing back and, my confidence is back up. Girl, thank you so much. Like, that is what gets me excited. Not the fact that they bought the product. It just so happens that the product that they bought from me translated into these results for them, right? And so that's what gets me excited. So find that part of the business that gets you excited. Really, whatever your unfair advantage is or your secret sauce is. For me, with the hair business, I'm really, really, really good at explaining what most people would consider complicated hair topics and using analogies to really bring it all together and make them understand, like, this is why you shouldn't be doing this. Because most people will just say, oh, you need to deep condition your hair every day. But they don't know why, not every day, every time you wash your hair. But most people don't know why, right? They just know that you're supposed to do it. But we don't know why we're doing it. So it's like, maybe I do it, maybe I don't. Hey, you should be doing hot oil treatments every so many months. You need to do, whatever. They just know this is what people talk about, but they don't understand why. There's no blueprint for them. And so when I would create that and they would follow it every time, like, people are having amazing results. So I've proven this over and over and over. When it comes to what I'm doing now, which is sharing my content, sharing my business expertise and things like that, it's like, hey, I made this amount of money in 20 years, in 10 years. I could have done that in 3 had I known what I know now. Let's get you to do that in 3. Like, I want to see you win. Because for me, there's no shortage of abundance in this world. Like, there's enough for me, there's enough for you, there's enough for everybody watching, there's enough for everybody on the earth. But most of us are so rooted in lack and a poverty mindset, and we don't even realize it, that we talk about the things that we don't have. We talk about the things that we don't want. I hear people all the time say, oh, I can't do that right now because I'm broke. You would never hear me say I'm broke. Even if I ain't got the money. You would, because broke is a mindset, right? My situation might be temporary. My financial situation, if things not right, it's probably temporary, but I ain't broke, period. And so seeing people like get out of that mindset and me being able to help shift them where their mindset and is like affecting their money now. And it was because of something they watched from me. Like, oh my gosh, like, that's so fulfilling for me. So yeah, for anybody watching who has lost the excitement, I would say find the thing that really gets you happy and brings you joy and brings you fulfillment, and then just dive into that. Because if you are solving that problem, the money is going to naturally come.
Gwen, thank you for your time. How can people find out about you online, social media, and your website?
Yeah, so you can follow me on YouTube by going to just type it in your search box, Gwen Jimmere. And that's Jimmere is my last name. So Gwen Jimmere on YouTube. The name of the show is The Get Money Show with Gwen Jimmere. So I call all my tribe members the money getters. So if you want to be a money getter too, then come on and get money with us. You can also follow me on Instagram, which is The Gwen Show. So everywhere else, I'm The Gwen Show. So Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, you can follow me at The Gwen Show. And then I actually have a free 56-page 2024 small business survival guide that I wrote for small businesses to help them find money in their business, to save money in their business so they can actually have the money and the freedom to live the life that they want. And you can get that by going to gwenjimmere.com/bizguide. Awesome.
Well, this is the Coins, Cashflow, and Conversations podcast. I am your host, Dakota Grady, sponsored by Upstate Essential Solutions. Contact me today at dakotagrady.com.